HR. And we are a community of HR professionals, and we are working towards the configuration or integration of technology with HR ops. And we have host events across the country, across the world, on various attributes of how HR, technology, and people processes are all coming together. So last year we had hosted an event on CHRO cost optimization strategies, and today we start the year with the first of our discussions on skill stacking and workforce automation. And we have three distinguished speakers with us. One of them is a true blue-blooded management consultant with decades of experience of working on organizational transformation exercises and strategies, and two of practitioners from the industry, delivery personnel who have had experience of working with multiple projects, multi-dollar projects, multi-locational projects, and who have been at the forefront or at the bare front of the the challenges when it comes to skill stacking and workforce optimization for project delivery. So we have Ashok and Ganeshan today in their new avataram of Liberwin, where they're trying to solve the problem of how do you address these challenges which are facing the delivery managers today, as all projects in IT are digital projects. And we have with them True Blue management consultant Sasi Kumar, former partner with all the big four, who has worked on a whole host of projects, and will set the discussions we'll kick off the discussion by taking a consultant's perspective, and then we move into the aspects of skill stacking and workforce optimization. So welcome, gentlemen. Welcome, Ashok. Welcome, Ganeshan, and welcome, Sasi.
Thank you.
And welcome, Ashok and thing. So I'll kick off with the first question here, and this is addressed to Sasi. About Sasi, how do you see the current landscape of work and talent impacting enterprises and customers?
Okay. Thank you, Mandy, and thank you, everybody. The landscape of work and talent is undergoing a tremendous amount of change, disruption, turbulence, coping, reconfiguration, you call it. Today we have a fundamental shift happening around the workplace, which is moving away from physical to mixed and a virtual, completely virtual. And a wider range of organizations are adopting to this shift, and to a reasonably effective manner. I wouldn't call it as a best or an efficient manner, because still the learning curve is up there. The second major shift is around the talent, which is the workforce. The basic configuration of talent as own resources has been moving out to be involving talent from other sources. That is happening in a lot of organizations. Organizations are looking at joint venture partners to provide those talent. Companies are looking at managed services, looking at contractors. Now, all this has been happening for a while. They're not new. But what has happened during the last 1 year due to COVID and the pandemic is a tremendous amount of shift in looking at talent in the form of a gig, or a crowdsourced talent pool, or a human cloud. And that is bringing in a significant shift in the way talent has to be leveraged, both from within the organization, you call it internal talent management, or from external talent management through talent exchanges, which are freelancer platforms. The next shift is around the way you engage, the work and talent together. So jobs are getting, redefined to projects, and projects are getting redefined recently into micro works and tasks. So organizations are, becoming, effective by fragmenting the work into modular, components with the specific outcomes and skills that is required to go in to deliver that work. And they're also expertise they're also building expertise to assemble these modular work back into a full form and deliver to the client without impacting cost, time, and quality. The work is also shifting from its conventional centralized form into a blended mixed model to a completely distributed model in a wide ranging sectors. Uh, Now, all this is enabled by the way work collaboration tools have come and played the role. There is a plethora of collaboration tools that are available that are helping the work and the talent to coexist in multiple geographies and time zones, uh, and being managed not from a top down manner but a more participative, agile, and a multi stakeholder manner, and that is becoming a reality. And the other shift that is happening is the way work norms have been configured, whether it is the way you configure a work for a time or a location, or how you fix reward and pay, and how you attach the skill significance of a work. All this is changing now. In a recent update from World Economic Forum, which has been tracking the future of work, if you notice how this whole pandemic is pushing companies to accelerate the scale of remote work. It is actually a reality today. Remote work did exist in the past, but today it is a reality for all sectors, wide ranging sectors, and a wide ranging segment of functions. It is also pushing the envelope of digitization and automation, which will have a bearing on the way enterprises look at talent and work. Now, other estimate says that in another 5 years, there will be almost 50-50 in terms of what is the work done by machines, which is your bots and AI programs, and and machine programs which will actually complement what human beings are doing work. So we will end up having scenarios where this is man to man work, man to machine work, and machine to man work, where we would even have bots managing human beings. Now, all of this is also going to push the skills that are required for people to stay abreast and stay afloat and be future ready. So, if you look at globally, there's a tremendous amount of reskilling that is required, which is around 40%. And the amount of effort that is required to be continuously put in is also going to be significantly high. And in India, recently NASSCOM said that about half of Indian industry is already actively engaging gig work model, which is very encouraging. Now, finally, if you look at the way one has to deal with talent, there is a low-hanging mango called internal talent pool, which is what Josh Bersin of Deloitte says, that if you leverage your internal talent before you go out, of course you need to go out, but leverage it fully, which will give you 6x advantage. It is 6 times more expensive to go out and look for talent than to develop and leverage your internal talent. I think that's a fundamental shift that is happening, Mandy. Happy to take up a few other questions, when we come back.
Thank you very much. I think that was insightful. I just put some short pointers of your discussion in the chat box, so that's good. Thank you very much. So now we move into the next thing of with all these happening, the macro things happening around us, how does the world of the delivery manager change? And I invite Ganesh here to tell us what is, given all these changes, what are the challenges impacting delivery and the enterprise customer experience?
Yeah, thank you, Mandy. Thanks for having us. First of all, thanks to HR Hack and for you. This is a very interesting topic for me, future of work, and I'm very passionate about it. And also, I'm very excited to talk about some of these challenges being in the delivery stream for a very long time in the corporate world, right? Let me just use this. Yeah, so coming back to the question, if you look at the challenges that are impacting delivery, I want to put it into categories. How the IT delivery happens today. we can precisely put into 4 boxes because that's where I am experienced in. On the left side, you can see these, managed services and customer service operations. These are the traditional IT projects. Customers wanting to, save costs in terms of managing their applications and infrastructure, and also, outsourcing some of these customer support operations. And traditionally, being Indian, in our IT service players have done a very good job in here, right? So depending on these programs, the type of delivery programs, the objectives of the our customers, they are different, obviously, and what is expected out of an IT service provider are dramatically different in each of these programs. And what challenges that we encounter with regards to talent, that is also different in each of these programs, right? So the boxes on the left side is traditional, and we know this, and we have last 2 decades, we have been managing talent sourcing always have been a challenge, and particularly the traditional programs had to deal with domain expertise, people experience, is with proprietary vendor solutions and so on. So always this has been a challenge, right? But we figured out ways of solving these problems. When it comes to customer service operations, it's more to do with talent retention, but it's fairly these services now being automated. Yeah, but in the focus, today's focus is coming to the right side of the box, right, where customer transformation programs are happening, and also digital programs that are more towards the as strategic partners for enterprises, IT service providers taking on digital programs, building new age solutions, and so on. Right? These are the 2 things are all in full focus now, because every program that we deal with is a digital transformation program today, right? And that is what is driving the whole in terms of talent needs, particularly dealing with emerging technologies, all these AI, cloud, and data analytics skill set is something that is new for us to adapt to, right? And when we I think from my experience in the last 4 or 5 years, we have looked at huge reskilling exercises in the big IT players to quickly get into these new technologies, right? This is where we have the real challenge, because our existing talent pool are of course skilled in certain areas, but when it comes to digital technologies, and this came as a tsunami wave, right? And all of a sudden everybody has to be skilled in so many variety of emerging skill set. It was a big challenge, so the mass reskilling was happening, but then we still find difficulty matching the skill set and talent to the programs that we're driving, right? And particularly when it comes to innovation programs, innovation programs.
Pardon?
Okay, somebody's has to mute. Okay, so when it comes to digital programs, the access to the new skill set, there is a peculiar challenge with the visibility. All right. First of all, discovering this talent, whether it is within the company or outside the company, that itself is a challenge. And leveraging this talent very quickly, because the customer expectations are very high, and we don't have this luxury of time now, time anymore. So leveraging this talent quickly are big challenges, right? So I mean, those are the broader challenges with regards to talent, and of course, we'll talk more about how to address probably some of these later on. Thank you, Mandy. Back to you.
So thank you very much, Ganesh. And I think that was a good landscape. But today, just a follow up question: do you think that every project has become by default a digital project? I mean, they've
Most
all
of
got
them,
boxed
most
into all of
most
them
of
are
them, yes.
boxed into a one particular big box called digital.
That's right. I mean, the surveys are revealing. I mean, the surveys towards CTOs and CIOs, they are declaring 93% of their projects are digital projects or digital transformation projects. Some about 6% claiming that they have done something about it, but 90% still underway, right? And most of them are digital. The reason being, I think this is all starting with our mobile handsets in our hand, right? And that's where the customer engagement has completely changed. How you deliver services and how do you engage your customers, everything has changed, and that is common for all the industries, and now that all pushing towards digital projects and also leveraging digital technologies.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Uh,
yeah.
I think that's a good one to say that everything is now default by digital. So now coming on to the more important piece of the work. Now we have seen digital practitioner's view of what are the challenges he faces. Now let's get into the specifics of talent. So how are enterprises managing these talent management in this context, Ashok? I want to get your perspective. Now that Sasi set the stage of macro level, Ganesh set the stage at the enterprise level and the buckets of projects. At the talent level, Ashok, what is the problem? Now what with talent?
See, when we are thinking about the talent management practices, like the challenges, it automatically brings a smile, because this is a problem we have been living through decades, especially more so in the couple of decades. The sourcing has been one of the main problems. Okay, so while the main challenge has been uh, enormous amount of time and effort has been spent by our delivery guys, especially the skilled ones, like the core guys, for technical interviews or sifting through the profiles, a lot of things, and even for the talent hiring managers. Because in my experience, I have worked both with delivery teams closely and as well as the HR. Okay, so I understand the pain points on both the sides. So the sourcing is a major issue, as I told you. The non-quality CVs, and we find a person with great difficulty, and then they're joining in quick time further than our liking has been an issue. Okay, so these issues have been there all, but what is complicated today is especially with the new age skills, as Ganesh also pointed out, with respect to cloud, AI, mobile data analytics, their shelf life is very less. Okay, and the customers are also wanting a quick deployment because of the nature of these projects, which are in these present times. They want a faster deployment, and basically we have very less lead time to train and deploy the skills, or sometimes non-existence. Sometimes we need to start the same day or next day. So this has put enormous pressure on the system, I mean the delivery as well as the HR. Okay, so traditionally we had a few sourcing channels. One is through the normal hiring process, where a lot of vendors give us the profiles, and plus people who come with the contractors. Okay, so this has been the main sourcing channels, and internal skills DB. So these have been the predominant where we find for talent. Okay, but one of the main challenges, these are all not integrated. Integrated in the sense, a real-time skills database where everyone can access at the same time is really missing. So that's what we found to be a major problem with a lot of people, delivery managers, even for HR managers whom we have spoken in the recent past. Okay, so what is a real-time database? Skills database means it is capturing all the skills on a kind of a daily basis. So now, because of these learning platforms which have come like Udemy and the Plural site, a lot of people are acquiring skills on their own, and this data is really missing. Okay, so and it's missing is basically we are unable to find these talent internally, and unnecessarily we go outside for hiring. So this is one of the things. So the real-time skills portal can really help in deployment of talent enterprise-wide inside itself before we look for external sourcing. So this is one main thing we are facing. So another major challenge, most of the in HR forums we have discussed it, but more from the delivery side is enterprises, especially with the large talent pool, and they are remotely working today because of the COVID situations. So the engaging remote teams has become already like 100% now. Okay, so this we had the traditional way of engaging or even conducting team building exercises. People are used to working in the same location, close proximity, and conducting open houses. All this become a challenge. So these engagement methods have to redefine. Some enterprises are finding a way for that, but this is another big challenge which we face at this point of time. Yeah. Over to you, Mandy.
Okay. No, I think you put it very rightly. And just to give you a context, another context, a parallel context today, that in the healthcare, suddenly we have jumped from physical OPDs to digital OPDs. Now, this has changed the whole landscape of patient engagement.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, while in Europe, it may have a different context because people are very net savvy and all, but in the context of India, it puts up absolutely a brand new challenge, internet connectivity, basic services and everything. So, and the whole skill set for a hospital has turned upside down. For a hospital, I understand we're talking about IT companies over here, but even for a hospital, the whole thing has turned upside down because
it applies everywhere.
The whole system has moved in a different dimension, and they are not used to it. And hospitals, by tradition, have been a very monolithic organization. Specialist setups. You can't do an oncology consulting online. You can do some parts of it, but not the whole part of it. Dentistry cannot happen, right? But they're all moving up to the challenge. So I think you put it right that the need of the hour is to have real-time skill inventories in the company. So basically, essentially what you're saying is that the traditional resource management group has to invent himself, or they have to invent themselves big time, because they are setting up a new challenge.
It's high time, and now it's more important. They have to look at. Earlier, it was an option, but today it's not an option. They have to do it. Okay, and the way the industry is moving, the people who do it are going to succeed a lot better.
Okay, so now we will shift our gears to the consulting hat. So Sasi, now my next question to you is that given all these contexts of what the delivery managers or delivery heads are have just put in front of us, how do you see, and given that disruption has become a default word today, how do you see these challenges of delivery managers and disruption as the default situation impacting enterprises? What is the consultant view on that? How do you get ready for the storm, or we are already in the storm?
Well, I think we are still navigating the storm. It's not yet over. It's going to take at least a couple of years for a comparable past. I wouldn't call the exact replica of past, but a comparable past of stable outlook in the way we operate as individuals, communities, or businesses. One thing which I must admit is just like the way the change has been unprecedented, dramatic with respect to the year 2020, thanks to the pandemic. I would say the response to a large extent has also been, if not better, equal and comparable in a wide-ranging areas. Of course, we can't say that was a perfect response, but I think every stakeholder around the world tried their best to cope. I think it's a fantastic example. I look at it, even though it was a very devastating year for a lot of people who have a loss of life and their livelihood and their economic returns and health well-being, all of that. Despite all of it, I think the coping has been very, very encouraging. I would say that's a good sign, and I think that will help in recovering to a better shape, better and faster. Now, coming to the way how this is being coped and managed and dealt with by companies, quick adoption by enterprises to move from conventional work models into a distributed connected model is helping. Companies are operating completely virtual and some are operating at a blended model. Now, I foresee that at least a 75% reduction in your real estate and administrative cost of offices, which can actually bring in as a significant saving for operating efficiency for companies. Second is that the fact that connectivity, technology, mobile communication devices were available to a wide-ranging stakeholders. Everybody who has a talent, either you're within the organization or outside, you have potentially become a gig now. Now, whether you like it or not, all of us are gigs. And I think that's a transformation. Earlier, the convention of gig was particularly to do with the age group. But today, technology and this whole socioeconomic compulsion has transformed all of us to become a gig. And companies have started realizing to look at talent as as a gig, irrespective of whether they are available within the organization or outside the organization. Now, the fact that the pandemic has put tremendous amount of pressure on the top line and the bottom line, there's obviously a pressure for internal leverage of every form of assets organizations have. More importantly, the talent pool. And hence, what is happening is that organizations are giving paramount importance to leverage the talent from within. So they're looking at what could be a model to make sufficient leverage of my talent within. So the answer comes in multiple forms. It could be an internal talent marketplace, it could be a human cloud, or it could be a system that provides an opportunity for every talent within the organization in order for them to be able to pursue area of work which they have expertise in and skills in. The other important mechanism or coping mechanism that is being adopted is a drastic shift towards upskilling and reskilling and making learning a fundamental necessity for all of us. So lifelong learning has been a concept around the world for quite some time, but it is probably is witnessing unprecedented adoption levels today, right from people in school to colleges to youths to young working population to even retired people are coping with new learnings, which has never happened in the past. So that is an important shift, and companies are already spending a significant amount of budget and resources around enabling people to learn continuously. The other area of coping and managing by companies is around collaboration tools. A phenomenal amount of investment is going in leveraging available collaboration tools which can connect work and talent and customers and the entire business value chain, which has never happened in the past. And even if it has happened in the past, it was very, very effort intensive, time intensive, and cost intensive exercise. But what has happened in the last 10 months has been unprecedented. In all dimensions of this transition, companies have adopted and coped reasonably very well. Remote work and flexible work today is an accepted norm. Nobody will question it today. Earlier, it was an option, it was a choice, but today it has become a necessity. So how organization can look at remote work is going to continuously change. The simple model, what you see here in the screen is that you just look at very fundamentally, is it feasible to do remote work? Whether it is opportunities low or high, and risk associated with that delivery, how ready you are to accept the risk, which means that I have risk mitigation mechanism in place in order for me to be able to deal with the associated risk of a remote delivery. And the talent is drifting away from a conventional predefined planned career into a very dynamic and a real-time agile and progressive future-ready career, which is driven by their interests, their passion to pursue some purpose, their quest to upskill themselves continuously. Now, all this is even witnessed by a recent data by World Economic Forum, which says that there is a 4x increase in the number of individuals who are seeking out opportunities for learning online through their own initiatives voluntarily. And on the enterprise side, companies are seeing a 5x increase in provisioning of online learning to people. And governments are not left behind. There is a 9x jump in enrollment for learning access through governmental support. Now, if you, for example, if you take NASSCOM as an industry body, has already identified that they want to look at somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million people in the IT industry out of the 3.5 million workforce base in the ITITS alone to be reskilled in the next 3 to 5 years. And they've already identified some areas and skill sets and the technologies. Similarly, if you look at France and if you look at Singapore and a number of other countries, they're already providing learning allowances to the citizens. So I think we are in a right direction. More efforts are required, but I think a reasonable good start has been done by all the stakeholders, and I'm very hopeful that the industry is going to see some very interesting way of dealing with this disruption and leveraging talent in a best possible way.
They better, you know, because see, earlier we were the whole ODC model of Indian IT was based on I will ship work from overseas and put it in Bangalore or put it in Hyderabad. But this whole remote work has changed fundamentally the whole ODC model. Today, the ODC
Now
model is in the cloud. It is in the cloud.
Location feasibility studies are redundant.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's good that we have a large number of engineers who can speak English, because if you remember, if people from Belarus or China start speaking English, or Chile start speaking English, what happens then? So but I agree with your points that this is there. I also sense that today, I was just reading it, that there will be about 17 career shifts in one career zone, one career runway of people. That is also a very important data which I had read some time back. And in most recently, when I was reading a report by Decreed, which is into learning tech, it said that the Indian workforce is the most vulnerable when it comes to upskilling. The least vulnerable upskilling or scared about upskilling were the Europeans and the Americans, and the maximum were the Indians, followed by the Brazilians and the Mexicans. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is that their own assessment, employees' own assessment of his vulnerability or her vulnerability of the skill highway is only 3 years, maximum 5 years. In the next 5 years, they themselves are feeling that my skills will become redundant, and the organizations also are feeling the same way. So we are in a very precarious, or we are in a very interesting time spot where we will be seeing a whole host of changes on the talent side, on the enterprise side, and the whole individual. Earlier, you joined a company and you stayed with the company because it was company's responsibility to make you a good person or make you a profession. Now the whole thing has come onto you only. You are responsible for your own career highway, and that's the full stop. Right. So you have to upskill and all. Okay. So thank you very much for that insight, Sasi. And now coming back to our practitioner side. Now, given all this, where are the solutions? So we start with Ashok. Ashok, how does a delivery manager, given his project delivery schedule, timelines, given his incapacity to find the right talent at the right time, actually optimize the delivery workforce? What are the choices for him? What are the toolkits for him?
Ganeshan, want to take that?
Yeah, maybe yeah, I'll do that, Mandy, because you shared the question with me and then I'm prepared for it. Okay. Broadly, if you look at, I think we have talked about enough about the skill visibility. With the digital transformation taking place, and people are so far seen as whole, right? And we have driven everything role based, right? And with the digital skill set, and what is important is to know what the skill the person holds and what he could do with that particular skill. That becomes more and more important, right? And so skill becomes a currency, right? And this is a huge mind shift change, and the way we have been doing talent management so far, moving from a role based approach to a skill based approach. And this is where even Ashok was highlighting that we have databases in the companies, right? HR has a database, even delivery managers have access to a database where certain inventory, skill inventory or talent inventory is maintained, but that's not, that doesn't tell me. It can give me a head count, it can give me the number of people in a particular domain and particular product skill set, but then it doesn't give me the up-to-date information about a particular new skill who is possessing, right? So we are definitely moving from skill based to role based to a skill based model. Now, Sashi talked about billions of dollars being invested in reskilling and upskilling exercise, right? The first, of course, this was a needed exercise, and I've been part of large IT service providers, and I've been through this reskilling exercise myself. And what was done at a mass level, right? Um, we basically did a traditional approach, right? We thought, okay, put together a program and then mass train everybody for a few weeks, and then you can tell them that you are digital skills ready, but that's not helping. That's not helping, right? um, what is happening is everybody is now claiming that I know AI, I know cloud skills, I have this certification, that certification, but that is not helping when you actually get into work. And this is where 70% of the profiles are being returned by the customers, right? We have big challenges going on where the fulfillment of talent for our customers is the primary call every leader is sitting on every day morning, right? So this is a huge challenge. Now, how do we move from this model to a newer model? This centralized approach has to go away. I mean, you can still have this centralized training programs and so on, but it is essentially distributed. The learning is distributed, and people are learning on their own. And particularly millennial workforce, right? They are picking up and they are utilizing these online learning platforms, and they are picking on their own. All you need is that data coming into a system where the rest of the organization can have visibility. So that's the first part. The second part is, how do you make sure that these people get opportunity, right? Today we are looking at a person as a whole, a talent as a full person, and we'll have to probably, it is time to digitize the person, right, based on the skill set, so that he is available and he's able to contribute in various works, maybe at a part-time level or at a micro work level, that he's able to contribute and increase skill is experience, right? That needs to happen. That can come in the form of micro work, internships within the organization. And the third point is the intelligence itself, right? The knowing where the skills are. Today, our challenge is, most of the guys would agree with me who has been in the, with the large IT service providers. The internal talent mobility doesn't work, or it is not as effective as it can be, right? And so this is where it has to change. Earlier we had organizations set up in such a way that domain skills are captured within verticals, and the technical skills are captured in the service lines. So that sort of organization that helped in the olden days. But with the new skill set today, any solution involves automation, involves cloud, involves mobile, or customer experience design and data analytics and so on, right? So in order to leverage, we need to have that intelligence available to us. Where are the skills? And on top of it, where these people stand in that particular skill. Some sort of skill ranking should be available, right? Now, this is happening in some form, but it is not a consolidated information that is available to talent managers today, right? Like Ashok explained this, that the tools are not integrated. Everybody is looking at their own systems and their own data. That does not help to narrow down a particular talent with a particular skill for a particular work, so that the right talent, right skill match happens. Yeah. And the last one is about redeployment. Now, redeployment, of course, the approach that today organizations are taking, or let me reskill all of my workforce so that whenever the new digital transformation opportunities are coming up, I could just deploy them, right? But this is where the gap is, right? There is a skill shortage. The narrow down into the skill is a problem, and it is also forcing people to move into work which is not their choice, right? So from an internal talent management perspective, organization need to create some sort of work marketplace where the work that can be carved out and given to people across the company, right? And this responsibility lies with the project managers, the delivery managers, who wants to leverage this talent within the company, and they'll have to carve out the work and engage the workforce across the company even before they are going out to the external market, right? And that only can be achieved by providing appropriate rewards, some sort of incentive ecosystem, and instant feedback to the people so that they can continuously upskill and be ready to be redeployed. Yeah, yeah. Thank you,
I think that was
Mandy.
pretty
And yeah.
yeah, that was pretty comprehensive. And now I think we come down to the solution at an enterprise level. While we are seeing that internal talent mobility applications or solution suites are coming up, we have had a version or thing of human capital management solutions coming into the market, integrating everything from HR record to performance management to payroll to career mobile career pathways. Everything has happened, but somehow we have still missed the bus because we were not we were not ready for the digital transformation or the talent equation of the digital farm transformation. So I believe that HR today needs to see talent and skill as two parallel tracks, where earlier talent was focused on what is the promotion I should give him, what is the exposure experience broad he has had, and based on that he should have a career pathway. But today, as Ashok said, that the pathway which has got you that far is disappearing in the future. The skills are your skills are not the same what you require for the future. So I in my opinion, or as I see it, that talent and skills are now on parallel tracks, and enterprises are finding it very difficult to put these tracks, or align these tracks. And that is why you say that the tools are not integrated. So coming back to Ashok, my question is, where is the solution, or what are the solutions which could be there given all these discussions that we've had, and we just on to the last few minutes of our discussion. So if you can just give us a broad overview of the solutions.
Yeah, thanks, Mandy. Again, see, just continuing with what Sasi and Ganeshan had covered, and Sasi had covered how the industry things are moving. Okay, workforce optimization itself is an ocean itself topic, but based on whatever we have covered so far, let me try to put it in simpler terms. This workforce, right? What are the constituents of the workforce, or rather, I would put it as the colors of talent. Okay. Basically, it has been the employees who are working kind of full-time or part-time, or contractors. Okay, so this constitutes the major percentage of the workforce. Of course, we have these freelancing platforms coming and having their say a little bit. Okay, so what we see is the coming from now on in the coming years and decades, these on-demand platforms will emerge as the primary driver for economic growth for the developed and emerging economies worldwide. So based on that, okay, so what we see is there is a huge global talent pool which is not tapped fully. Okay, to some extent it is there. It is like there are skilled homemakers who are working earlier and who are not in the workforce today. Okay, and there are also even homemakers who want to work, get skilled and then work. And then this talent on sabbatical. I'm sure that even the companies would want to utilize their services, but there's no norms for those things. And college students. So college students is something which I would also focus. Okay, we saw the new age skills and a lot of skills acquired very easily. The cost of acquiring those skills have come down. In our experience, and when you're talking to other industry leaders, we see that a lot of students have picked real skills and they've done internships and they're ready. Okay, with little bit of guidance, they are able to take up professional work. That's what we have seen, and we have also experienced that. So what can enable that is um, it's something like this. See, for enterprises, there's a huge project, and you build a core team. Okay, you build a core team which can take all the important work like planning, design, and customer coordination stuff. The huge chunk of this development work, like Sasi and covered before, like micro works, you break into micro works, okay, and that can be done by anyone. Okay, so we are actually looking at a skill. It's more of a skill dependent than a person dependent. Anyone who has that skill is able to deliver this micro works. So what it can do is, so major portion of the work can be looked at, delivered using something called internal talent marketplace. Okay, and if you are not able to fulfill it, you just go outside to global talent pool. So there are key players who are actually looking at providing these services, and those platforms that going to succeed are the ones who are going to enable this internal target talent marketplace and seamlessly connect with that global talent pool, as I told you before. Okay, so this is something which companies needs to look into and start, and it's like a win-win for both enterprises as well as talent. Talent is having a choice to deliver work to multiple entities or even multiple customers, and enterprises having a greater choice to seek talent from either internally or from a global pool. So this is something which I am looking at. And another important thing is, a non-competing organization, at least to start with, can look at collaborating and sharing resources. This is something which can be also looked at. So in this way, moving forwards, companies looking at these areas, I think, can optimize their workforce much better than before. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ashok. I think the good part is we are on time. Okay, we're not going to overshoot. So coming back to the final question, and this is for Ganeshan. Ganeshan, now we have Ashok has led the has given us the scope of the solution stack of internal talent marketplace and skill dependency, and rather than personal dependency. So what is your final stack that you feel is the need of the hour and organization needs to adopt it? So if you can give your thoughts on the solution stack.
Yeah, sure, Mandy. Okay, so I think, because we have been in the industry, particularly in the delivery programs, and have seen the issues firsthand, and that's a reason that we wanted to step out and build a future of work platform that enterprises can leverage, right? And some of these issues that we are addressing in our platform. Number one, we are creating this visibility to the skill set that is available within the company, which can be real time and available to all the stakeholders, right? As a real time platform. That is number one. Number two, we are creating a ranking system which ranks people on their skills, as well as creates a ranking for at a person level, right? So that combining these ranking, that someone can make a decision about the deployment, right? So the when I say ranking, we are talking about skill ranking, as well as a ranking which sort of qualifies or validates the person, right? We call it work worthiness index, right? And using that information,
Wow,
you can cut down.
that's a catchword.
Yeah, so you can cut down a lot of these, unnecessary multiple rounds of interviews. We did all this for hiring a person, but when we move to a micro work model, when you are looking at specific skill set, you need you need to identify those skill set and where they stand, right? So we are creating that ranking model available in the platform. Third, we are leveraging AI, right? And we have been always looking at how we can leverage technology to change things around, right? Today we are saying cars can run automatically on its own, and why not select a person or a talent automatically using AI, right? So that's a thought process, and we are leveraging AI to match skill to work, and a lot of these interview process can be cut down to selecting the person and allocating work to them, right? And fourth, what is important is employee experience, right? And unfortunately, so far employees are pushed to a particular work and particular project and so on. They don't have the choices. Right now, more and more millennials coming onto the workforce, it is important for them to have choice and aligning their interest and work, and they are able to contribute better and engage better, right? So we are creating this employee engagement within the platform where they are fairly rewarded. There is a reward mechanism, as well as they are provided instant feedback about the work that they are delivering, so that it helps them to continuously upskill and be ready to be deployed to bigger programs. So those are the fundamental capabilities we are building. Now, in the screen you might see a kind of framework solution that we recommend that organizations should look at. It addresses both demand side and the supply side. The demand side, all the work providers, could be delivery managers, account managers, project managers. They need to have certain capability, visibility to the skill set, and they should be able to sort of, publish the work and get work done on demand fashion, right? On the supply side, people need to continuously be aware where to invest their time, which skills to pick up, and becoming visible to the organization, and so that they can contribute and probably earn some rewards and additional incentives through this exercise, right? And the platform as such should have the sort of AI capabilities to do the matchmaking to skill to work, and also allows them to allows people to be validating their skills and having a sort of some sort of scoring system or ranking system within that platform, right? And if this happens on the platform, both involving the demand side and supply side, then what you're going to have a complete insight and intelligence that is available to the organization stakeholders, and that unleashes a power within the organization. Yeah. So
I think that is
that's the sort of
absolutely.
framework solution. Yeah. Thank you, Mandy.
I think you hit the nail on the head by giving the entire perspective and then giving your own viewpoint from a delivery manager's point of view. What should a future enterprise platform for skills and for future of work look like? So I think this is pretty good, and so thank you very much for your time. And we have a question for Sasi, and it's on the chat. It says, on a consultant angle, what is one major paradigm shift the Indian talent requires to cope with the changes due to global disruption now? And this is from Daniel.
Hi, thanks, Daniel, for that question. I was just waiting for the other panelists to complete their talk, and hence was holding to answer your question. To answer your question, I wouldn't call it as one major paradigm, but I would like to address some critical paradigm shift that is essential for Indian talent in order for them to be able to cope with this disruption more effectively. The first paradigm shift I would say is your approach to learning and skill has to radically undergo a change. The reason being, there is a term in learning industry called half-life of skill. Now, what is half-life of skill? It is the time taken for a skill to lose its importance by 50%. That's called half-life of skill. Now, the half-life of skills across sectors, a couple of decades used to be anywhere between 15 to 20 years. And then it progressively started, dripping and dropping downwards, thanks to the third industrial revolution, which was largely dominated by electronics and computers. Now we are in the era of fourth industrial revolution and IoT and automation and artificial intelligence. And in a wide-ranging areas, the half-life of skill has come down to less than 2 years. And in certain high tech areas, it's running into a few quarters. So it's very important that the Indian talent, or for that matter, global talent, to take stock of, what is their approach to learning, how quickly they can unlearn. Unlearning is very, very important. We are very, very poor. Human beings are very poor to let go of what you have acquired. So what you've learned, which is not relevant and become redundant, has to be let go on. And you need to look at, what are the quicker ways, or I would say rapid relearning, rapid upskilling is one paradigm shift, I would say. The second is that you need to be a frugal innovator because resources are getting constrained. Extremely difficult competition around in your own peer group as talent, as well as in the areas of the work which you're doing, and your employers are operating. And hence, every individual has to leverage the frugal way of innovating oneself in the way they can add value. Innovate the way you want to add value to the work you're associated with. That's a second shift. So which I'm saying that innovation is not limited to only select set of people. Everybody can innovate. The third and an important area is bringing in customer empathy. You don't look at work in isolation. Look at work in the context and the lens of a customer, an end customer. How is your work going to make a difference to that end customer? I think these are the three things. If we bring customer empathy, if we bring in a shift in the way we upskill and relearn, and in the way we want to reinvent ourselves in adding value to the work, I think any talent across the world can cope with the kind of disruption what we are going through. I hope it answers your question. Happy to take on any add-on questions.
Thank you very much, Sasi. That was a very nice overview. So the mantra is reinvent ourselves.
Right.
That
Absolutely.
is the reinvent.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, good. So I think that was a very insightful discussion. We are just on top of the hour, and I am thankful to all the people who joined us for the session. And thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Ganeshan, for your insights and your commentaries and your framework. I think it, from a practitioner's point of view, it helps a lot to the HR guys as in our world. We have not seen your world, or we have a very limited view of your world, and we are very busy in our world. But I think you have given us a very practical insights of what are the problems of talent and what are the future problems of talent and how do we solve it with your framework. Thank you, Sasi, as always, for the consulting overview and the framework discussions and giving us a larger macro picture of how things are moving. And our takeaway from the seminar or the session is the key mantra is reinvent ourselves and keep moving forward, keep unlearning and keep learning. So thank you very much. Until we meet again next time with the new feature of Colors of Talent. This is Hacking HR Bangalore, Mandeep signing off. Thank you very much, Ashok. Thank you very much, Ganeshan. We have a recording of this, which we will share with our presenters, with our people who joined us. Thank you very much and have a safe weekend and a safe 2021. Last time we said Happy New Year and you know what happened. So that's why I'm keeping myself to have a safe 2021. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Signing off now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.